In the last video, I talked about how to name all the keys on the piano, so if you're not already familiar, I'd check that out before continuing. This time, I'm going to start by talking about 3 very important notes that every pianist should know, and then explain the basics of reading on the staff. This is middle C. If you're on a full-size keyboard or piano, it should be the C that's just a bit to the left of the brand logo. If you're on a smaller keyboard, it might take a few tries to figure out which one it is, but it's the one that sounds like this, not this or this. If it sounds like this, you found the right key, but you might have accidentally bumped one of the other buttons on your keyboard. Let's fix that. If I put my right hand on 5 consecutive white keys, starting with my thumb on middle C, the pinky should land on G. Middle C, D, E, F, G. This note is called treble G. If I do the same thing with my left hand, my pinky falls on F. Middle C, B, A, G, F. This note is called bass F. If I play bass F and treble G at the same time, middle C is halfway between. Cool. Now let's talk about this thing. These 5 parallel lines are called the staff. You can think of the staff kind of like grid lines or graphing paper for music. These lines tell us how far apart the notes are. So if I write a note on this line and another one on the space above, those notes would be right next to each other on the piano. If the first one's F, the second one would be G. And if I add a note on the top line, that would be A. When we're reading notes on the staff, we skip all the black keys. I'll talk about how to write those later. But how did I know the first note was an F? By itself, the staff doesn't tell us what note to start on. To figure that out, we need to add a clef. This is called bass clef or F clef. Bass F is always written on the second highest line in bass clef. Notice the 2 dots in the clef sign, one above and one below the F line. So this is bass F, this is G, and this is A. If I want to keep going, I can write B on the space above, and then extend the staff with these short lines called ledger lines. So this is how you'd write middle C and bass clef. The other main clef used in piano music is treble clef. This one's oriented around treble G, which is written on the second lowest line. If I want to figure out the other notes, I can count forward or backwards in the alphabet. Treble G, starting over in the alphabet from A, B, C, D. Or if I'm going the other direction, treble G, F, E, D, middle C. Basic note reading involves a lot of counting through the alphabet, so if you're just starting out, it might be worth practicing saying your alphabet backwards, at least up to G. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, G, F, E, D, C, B, A. I never bothered learning the other letters. This is called the grand staff. It combines the bass clef and the treble clef, and this is probably what most piano music you've seen looks like. Notes written on the grand staff are meant to be played at the same time. Usually the left hand plays the notes in the bass clef, and the right hand plays the notes in the treble clef. So this means to play bass F and treble G at the same time. If this all feels like a lot of arbitrary stuff to memorize, I like to think of bass clef and treble clef as being symmetrical around middle C. So the F line is the second highest line in bass clef, but the G line is the second lowest line in treble clef. Middle C is the first ledger line above bass clef, and it's also the first ledger line below treble clef. And if I put both my thumbs on middle C, my left pinky falls on the F line in bass clef, and my right pinky falls on the G line in treble clef. That pretty much just leaves the black keys. I mentioned in the last video that this key could be called either F sharp or G flat. Depending on how I want to spell it, I could write it like this, F sharp, or like this, G flat. If I want to write more than one F sharp in a row, I only have to write the sharp sign once. F sharp, F sharp. If I wanted to write an F sharp followed by an F, I could use a natural sign to cancel the sharp. F sharp, F. Sharps and flats also reset at bar lines. So here I'd play 4 F sharps, and then after the bar line, 4 F naturals. That's really all you need to know to be able to figure out the notes to most piano pieces. But as you can imagine, it gets really slow to have to count up and down all the time, especially if the notes are very high or low, or if there are a lot of them. Next time I'll cover rhythm, and then most of the rest of my note reading videos will be focused on tricks for reading faster.